Hello, welcome to another episode of Ballers Speak. Today I'm going to be talking about the Lakers free agency of 2021. And to start it off, their biggest move of the free agency season was acquiring Russell Westbrook. Now, with this acquisition, I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, I'm very excited, but on the other hand, I'm concerned that he may not be the best fit. Russell Westbrook's strengths are that he's very athletic, he's aggressive, he can attack the basket, he's a good passer, and he can do it all. He can score, rebound, and just plays with that energy and that edge. But his big downside, he is terrible at shooting from the three. And that is already the Lakers' biggest weakness. Overall, though, this is definitely still a major upgrade compared to Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder, even though he put up really good stats the previous season, he didn't perform well in the playoffs. It seemed like he actually wasn't a good fit. He did play all right when LeBron and AD were out, but next to LeBron and AD, he couldn't really do anything. He couldn't shoot, he couldn't pass. He was just a big non-factor and didn't make much of an impact in the playoffs. And to top it off, he didn't shoot the ball well. So if we're getting rid of Schroeder and adding Westbrook, who can pass, who's aggressive, who can get you buckets, then it's a major upgrade. Although again, I'm still concerned that maybe he might not be the best teammate. Maybe he's going to try to get triple doubles and ruin team chemistry. Russell Westbrook has been traded, or he's pretty much been on different teams the last 3 years. He got traded from the Houston Rockets to the Washington Wizards after only one season, and he left the Washington Wizards to the Lakers after only one season. So he's definitely going to be a very high risk but potentially high reward player. I feel like if he's playing next to LeBron and AD, two dominant players, I feel like he is going to take a back seat. I trust him more taking a back seat and being a better team player more than ever because he's playing with these two other great players. Another big acquisition was re-signing Dwight Howard. He's good for our chemistry. He's a very good team player. He's very athletic, and he could catch the ball and score when we need him to, if we need him to. And as we saw in the playoffs when the Lakers won the championship, he was able to guard the dominant big man. I think he did a really good job against Jokic. And if we compare him to Marc Gasol and Andre Drummond, both of those big men are unathletic. They couldn't really keep up and guard quicker players. So they weren't too good on help defense. And I feel like Drummond and Gasol brought in a lot of ego. You know, Gasol was upset that we signed Drummond and he was benched, whereas Dwight Howard accepted his role. So I'm glad he's back with the Lakers now. Another big signing was signing Carmelo Anthony. I feel like he's going to give the Lakers what they lacked a lot the last few years, and that is offense. He's a very skilled scorer, and he's a very good shooter. I think he's going to complement the team well. I think he's put his own ego aside playing with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. So I feel like he's a good addition. I mean, the only real downside to him is his age, but we just really need him to score the basket in 10 to 15 minutes off the bench. And I think he's going to complement LeBron and AD very well. A big reason why I think we didn't sign him before was because we thought Kuzma was going to fill in this position as the sort of third player or scorer off the bench, but Kuzma just didn't deliver. I still think Kuzma has a lot of potential, but I feel like his growth was just stunted with LeBron and AD. Very recently, we just re-signed Rajon Rondo. He was another player that was sorely missed from the Lakers championship in 2020. I feel like Rajon Rondo stepped up in the playoffs big. I think in the last game against the Heat, Rajon Rondo dropped 19 points and 4 assists, and he just stepped up in a big way, especially compared to Dennis Schroeder. He was able to score. Of course, his IQ is off the charts, and he was able to be a great playmaker, and he was able to play really great defense against all the top guards in the West. So his leadership, playmaking, his demeanor, his IQ was missed, and so he's just going to be another solid contributor off the bench. Of course, we also got a lot of other players. Mostly when it comes to shooting, we have Wayne Ellington, Malik Monk, just a lot of people that can score off the bench. We got Trevor Ariza, although I don't feel too strongly about him. I feel like he wasn't that good of a shooter, and he just didn't look too great last season. But overall, I think we did a good job. The only real sort of big variable is going to be how Russell Westbrook integrates into with this team. But when I think about it, one big theme of this free agency was the Lakers looked like a better team in 2021, at least on paper, because we had players like Trez and Schroeder who we thought were going to perform. You know, we thought they were going to be capable of consistently dropping 15 points. But Trez was a liability on defense, and he can't really shoot at all. He's more of a post player. And Schroeder, again, he just didn't perform. He just didn't play well with LeBron and AD. And I feel like Rondo and even Westbrook are big upgrades over him. Even though on paper we look better with Schroeder, with Trez, with Drummond at center, maybe even with Gasol at center, in reality, replacing Schroeder with Rondo, replacing Drummond with Dwight makes us a better team because they know their roles. They both stepped up. Just because someone has all the stats doesn't mean that they'll play well with this team. And that's pretty much how I feel about Westbrook. On paper, it looks good, but there's many questions about how he'll play with the team. And of course, I have to mention that we are going to miss Alex Caruso. Although he didn't do anything particularly well, he did bring a lot of energy. He was a pretty solid defender, and I think he was a good teammate, and he played well with LeBron. On paper, I think we're a much better team on offense. I think we got a little bit worse on defense, but I mean, we're a top #1 defense, so maybe we can sacrifice a little bit of defense for much better offense. And of course, another big theme with this free agency is going to be age. If we stay healthy, if a lot of our older players continue to play at a decently high level, then I think we're in very good shape. And I'm definitely excited for this season.